So following up on some of that, those are great answers. Um, what do you think are qualities that new farmers need to develop, or skills in particular, and who do you need to be a farmer?
Who do you need to what?
Who do you need to be personally?
You need to be really, and you don't necessarily need to start out being a fast worker, but you need to learn and teach yourself how to be a fast and efficient worker. It's really important, and some people naturally have that ability, and some people don't, and they learn it, and some people don't, and they don't learn it. And, you know, don't sit on your butt on a farm unless you're on a tractor.
Yeah.
Run.
Anybody else?
You need to be very adaptable to very strenuous work. I think a lot of young people, and it's so cliche, but I think seems like every generation since I've been alive, it seems like we get farther and farther away from manual labor. And people can work hard and play sports and do stuff, but then when you're out there, it can be such a slap in the face for somebody to come and be hoeing a field all day long or something. And like Dan said, that's so true. To not be sitting on your butt. That's just such a not a productive place to sit when you're working on a farm. But you just really have to be adaptable and to really have passion for the work, and to kind of see the bigger picture and not just be lost in the one tedious thing that you're doing all day, but to kind of feel like a larger connection. And through these farms that we've been talking about, through more direct community interaction, through farmers market, CSAs, there is that can nourish a worker and not just be on an assembly line kind of thing.
I think you have to have a lot of communication skills as well, because at least for me, I don't have a lot of cash flow right now either yet, so I'm just starting to hire people, but I have to pretty much do it all. So what I didn't really respect was the amount of time that it took to maintain the website and do the emails and do all the logistics of coordinating the distributions and all of the deliveries, and doing it all so that people stay connected and feel like you're touching each one, because that's what we want to do is develop the community and the contact with everybody. And so that takes a lot of time over and above the growing, which is also taking a lot of time. So
I find that in my experience, you definitely have to be very hardworking. You have to, what does that thing go, if something will go wrong, it will go wrong, or something that can't go wrong, it will go wrong. I always start out with high expectations, like this time of the year in the spring. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I expect this, I expect that. Disappointments, they come. You just have to deal with them. This might not make it over on this end, potatoes or tomatoes, but you got abundance of something else over here. Things kind of seem to balance themselves out. So I guess I'm trying to tell you, be very adaptable. It's nice to have a rigid plan in place for what you want to do and what you want to accomplish, but you have to expect to make adjustments in your plan, because you're depending on, the season, you're depending on the weather and a lot of things to most of the degree to make your plan successful in that. We know here in Michigan it changes so often and quickly. So you have to really stick to it. You want to be hardworking. Don't be afraid to do the same thing over and over again, or to plant the same crop over again, or anything like that. Because that's what it takes. It's so unpredictable, but yet it's very rewarding. Else I wouldn't have been sticking with it as long as I have. I mean, maybe not financially rewarding, but I really feel good inside about what I do, and I think that I'm doing something that's very productive to society. People have told me that. So, yeah, you have to be adaptable and definitely love what you're doing, because it's a lot of energy, physical, mental, and every kind of energy that you have to put in it to make the thing work. And I know a lot of people don't appreciate it, and but that you know the people that you're even serving. But most of them really appreciate it. My main thing of selling is at farmers markets. I go to several farmers markets and market my produce, and I get the feedback from the people that deal with me, you know, all the time about, you know, I'm doing good. So that's kind of sustains me. And but mainly you've got to see how we're going to stick to it like any other occupation. Although this one is dirty and you got to be multi-talented skills to do, like the gentleman said, carpenter, plumber, electrician, and all these different kind of things to be successful at it. But I think it's really rewarding.
Thank you. I have one more question, and I'm going to open it up for the audience to ask some questions. And the question I'm going to ask is, do you think it's possible for a young person or a person without a family farm in their background or in their history to get one? And what might be a path toward that?
I think a lot of people are so ingrained we want to have our own project, our own house, our own, the whole, rugged individualism thing or whatever. And it's true. It's hard to always be working for somebody else, especially in a farming situation. But I think there's a lot of, the facts you just brought up. There's a lot of older farmers or people with land who have the resources, who still have a connection to agriculture and to this traditions. And I think that I see that as maybe being an opportunity for young people to farm, is to look at all these existing resources that are in place. People have put a lot of time and energy into infrastructure and developing these farming systems, and then see what can be worked out.
I think that I might have been kind of spoiled because I did inherit my place, and I was second generation doing this type of thing. So I'm somewhat familiar with land prices. I mean, if you want to start by beginning farming, you want to start from scratch and purchase some land to work. Of course, there's other ways you can lease and different things like that. But I think it's very difficult to get started for a young person now with the cost of land and equipment and supplies and whatnot. Some of the lending institutions, at least the ones that I've been involved with, are very skeptical, the banks that I'm speaking of, any other, to lend a person without experience in doing these kind of things money to get started. The government, I think, does have some programs, especially for minorities and what they call socially disadvantaged people, that will extend you credit or back loan agreements or whatever to get you started, but it's still a tremendous amount of capital that is involved. That's why my opening statement was that I was working with the people with the community gardens and whatnot like that. And like I said, there's a big push in urban areas for urban farming, and I call it urban gardening even, I call it urban farming, where there is in these cities such as Detroit land available to produce food to feed people. And that would be obviously the far easier course to go. Because like I said, if you want to start from scratch in a rural area and purchase land and equipment and all that, it's very expensive, from my experience.
Any other thoughts?
I think that there's, if you're lucky, you can find some people who have lots of energy to farm their property and would like to see it be farmed organically, and kind of get away from conventional farming and to transition it. And if you are able to make the connections, and that gets back to that networking, how can you do that? I know of a couple people that have talked with me, and if I want to do it, I just I can't do everything. So, and then I know another couple who is going to be working as a caretaker. They just worked on our farm last week, and it's a great young couple that will take over a couple's farm and run it for them, and then they'll let them take their whatever they grow to market. And so there's, I think, like David said, is that if you think outside of the box instead of owning your own place and try to make it happen in another way, and then maybe transition into ownership, that's probably the easiest way to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely possible, and the longer I'm doing this type of work, the more I realize that it is possible. 3 years ago, I maybe would have had a different answer, but I don't know. I mean, land is fairly inexpensive to lease, from what I've been hearing from people around, and you know, a lot of farmers, a lot of people who don't inherit farms, start small while they're doing something else, some other sort of job. So you kind of have to sometimes delay gratification, and work this other job and start small. I mean, you can still have your garden and still start developing your markets, and each year grow a little bit more and a little bit more. And as you do that, you'll meet people and opportunities may arise. There's also lots of other hospitals and universities and institutions around the country that don't have farms yet that could. So you could make friends there, and they usually have some money kicking around. Another way to
Very
go.
good point. I want to give the audience a chance to ask some questions, see if there are any. Over here.
I was wondering if Dan could make a speech. I know Dan formalized farming education. How do you what benefits he gained from that?
Mm.
Worthwhile to you and
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so in 2007, I was enrolled in a one-year organic farming certificate program at Michigan State. And so you're running a year-round CSA there, 60 or 80 member CSA, and taking classes full-time. And you learn a lot fast. All of that knowledge can be gained certainly outside of the university, and some of it might take a little bit longer to learn, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's been part of my path, and it's been good. But it wasn't cheap. It was expensive, and looking at trying to start a farm and increasing the amount of debt that you have when you're thinking about buying land and that sort of thing. I mean, that might be a disadvantage of it. So I think depending on somebody's circumstances, it could be a really good way to go. I don't know. I guess I was kind of in a hurry, and it served my needs, but just think it through. And I think it's one path that you can go to learn how to farm, but I think there are many other great ways, and the hands-on way is a good way to go too.
Other questions? Here.
Regarding each of you talked about your mentorships, but ways to acquire information. I was wondering if you could share how you were mentored, either in a formal way or what worked for you, or what was really great hopes of work and did both sides of the
Regarding mentorship, I think Dan was just saying there are existing and maybe more open up schools where you can pay money to learn these things. But I can't advocate strongly enough to, like Dan alluded to, is having experience in helping an existing farm and to hit the ground running and to really have that experience and to learn from people and be part of these amazing community-based farms like Community Farm and Appelsham and Tantray Farm, where they thrive, and they wouldn't survive without people's energy coming and bringing their interest and passion. And those is people who want to learn about farming, who make this whole farming, this like sustainable farming movement really happen. It's the heart of it, so to speak. Because you could hire day labor, people just to pick the beans, but it really thrives on people. So it's like this two-way street where, just being a part of a community like Tantray Farm, that farm I learned a lot and learned from other places as well. But I think it's really just getting out there and seeing how things grow and eating the food that you're growing is, I think, like the best way to go about it.